Well, good evening and welcome everyone to the end of the second day of the European Rover Challenge here in Krakow and Poland. We are not on the Mars yard here. As you can see, we are in a mine. This is something that Krakow is famous for. This is 130 meters below ground, one of the famous salt mines here in the south of Poland. Now, a salt mine is a relevant area because at the end of the day we talked about analog missions, and analog missions are about replicating the environment that we find in space, and confined spaces underground is one of those areas. ESA has its CAVES program where they train astronauts for specific mental and environmental challenges. Today was Lunar Day, was Moon Day in the challenge, and we saw different talks about the moon. We saw a presentation about the Artemis program and of course on the Mars yard where the competition was taking place. We also met guests in relation to lunar exploration. We talked about history. We talked about a person called Mieczysław Becker, who was a Polish engineer who was a very important person in the development of the lunar rovers in the Apollo program, a link between Poland and the Apollo program. We talked to the president of the Polish Space Agency, Professor Grzegorz Rochna, about 10 years of the Polish Space Agency. This is the 10th edition of the Rover Challenge. The Polish Space Agency is also 10 years old, and how those 10 years Poland moved from a country that was marginally present in space to joining the European Space Agency as a member state, and then developing this amazing space economy in Poland. The first Polish CubeSat, PWSat, was launched in 2012, and now Poland has 16 satellites in orbit. The first Polish space startups evolved around 2010. Now we have over 400 Polish companies contributing to the European space ecosystem. All things that we learned. We learned about the competition, of course, on the Mars yard that is ongoing, and tomorrow we'll see the big awards ceremony. We talked about drones, we talked about CubeSats, we talked about picosats, smaller and smaller satellites, with the students that are working on these projects. Space has become accessible to universities, to students now launching their own satellite, not just building them as educational projects to see how satellites work, but actually building space hardware that is then launched into space. We looked at the history of the European Rover Challenge with some of the members of the first organizing committees, and we looked at various other aspects of lunar exploration, analog missions, everything to do with the moon as a stepping stone towards Mars in the future. The European Rover Challenge is about the Mars yard, is about Mars exploration, but certainly Earth Day yesterday, the step towards the moon, the Artemis program, humanity going back to the moon as a predecessor of going to Mars. Tomorrow is Mars Day in the European Rover Challenge, so tune in again from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for the last day of the European Rover Challenge, where we will talk about Mars, but we'll also talk about the awards and the winners of the European Rover Challenge that will be revealed tomorrow at the end of the day. So for now, I'm going to go 130 meters back up to the surface, where it's much warmer than here down in this cool salt mine. But what an amazing place. So from here, I'm very proud to say goodbye and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.